Okay, go ahead. What's on your mind?
You better. You owe James McDonald apology for getting involved in him and FG beef. That was
Oh,
personal beef between them. I gotta say it.
well, I
I
just
know
did
you
the
might
interview.
edit it.
I just did the interview with FG. So, are you saying
I
I should not have interviewed him?
but keeping it going. I think you kept your foot on the gas a little bit too long. But that's my boy. You my boy, and that's always gonna be. And I got something. We'll do an interview one day. But I think you might be right about my relationship with my boy Norman Steele. He did something to me this week that I'm not really happy about. But we'll talk about that another day.
Well, I'm not surprised about that. But in terms of
I might owe you an apology.
oh, okay, well, I
For,
appreciate that. But in terms of me keeping the my foot on the pedal regarding the whole FG situation, is that every time those guys responded and retorted, they were suggesting that FG was a liar and that he was
I never
making
heard
it
James
all.
say that. You know,
Yeah,
I never really
James.
heard James say that.
James said that in the interview he did with Rel from Detroit in so many ways, and he also did it in
He
the
was
inter.
on the gas before that. That's what made him have to go and respond to that. You were on the gas before that.
Well, I don't know. I have to check the timeline on that. But when anyone suggests that an interview I'm doing with a dude is completely a lie, I have to respond. I gotta, you know.
Got you. Okay.
But
All
all right, Reggie, we're gonna talk again real soon. I
I know
appreciate
you
you.
very integrity with being journalist, and I hope it comes across that I have no dislike or anything towards FG. I think he's a solid brother. He's a little younger than my era, um, but I never heard no smirk on FG.
And
Nothing bad about
there's
FG.
no way I would have did an interview with him and let him speak all that if I didn't find it credible at all. You know, I found it 100% credible, and he came with receipts, and I just gave him a platform. If it wasn't going to be me, it would have been somebody else. So, you know, I did it, and I stand by it.
Respect, Alex.
All right, Reg, I'll holler back.
Peace.
All right. That was Reggie Wright Jr. Actually, before Reggie got off the phone, he had to pick a bone with me for I didn't even understand it for doing the interview with you. What was
Oh
that?
yeah, no, I mean he stated what other people had said. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm not saying it's facts. I'm just saying people have their opinion, and there was a few people that I heard say that. So I don't think you did. I think you did a great job on the interview. I came in, you allowed me to say what I wanted to say, and you know,
Yeah, I would have just left it alone at that, but it just seems like every time there was a response or there was a quote unquote interview, the theme of their interviews were that the paperwork was faulty,
right,
or without directly saying this, of course,
right,
but the paperwork is faulty and that your story is not true.
exactly.
And but what really killed me is there was one video where Mob James was speaking and he says, "I ain't gonna speak bad about FG. I ain't gonna speak down on FG." And I'm saying to myself, if somebody accuses me of being a rat and I'm not a rat, I'm gonna speak down on that person,
Well,
right?
no, I got you, but maybe he felt that you had an angle. Maybe he felt it was, something more than just me coming up. You know what I mean? Maybe if I did it with another journalist or somebody else, he wouldn't have felt the same way. But at the same time, I do believe that he felt, it was personal, a little personal.
Well, a lot of people think that Mob James and myself were like super close or super tight because we did the podcast for a year, and we really weren't that close. We spoke on the phone sometimes. Outside of the podcast, I didn't see him out anywhere. He ain't never been to my studio. He ain't never been to my place. I did know him prior to the podcast. I actually did go to his mom's funeral. But other than that, we never hung out. So people got this perception that him and I was tight.
Oh, okay. Because I heard y'all had vacation together a couple of times.
Never.
I'm just messing with you.
Nah, we wasn't tight at all. And even throughout the podcast
Yeah.
relationship, I spoke more to Reggie.
Yeah.
Reggie would call me up. I would call him up. Him and I kind of vibed a lot on the phone. Talked to James a few times. So for all those people out there that think like this guy was like my best friend,
Yeah.
and then I
Well,
turned
I mean,
around.
he was a coworker, so
Yeah.
you guys worked together. It was what it was, man. And you moving on, and just like everybody else, So hey, you know how it go.
Yeah, so I don't know what Reggie means. I put the the foot on the gas pedal. But hey, and then lastly, we'll move on from this topic. But lastly, there were 2 videos that they did that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because the undercurrent theme of it is that our interview was faulty, and that's the one he did with some dude from Detroit named Rel.
Right.
That whole interview was
I didn't like
lies.
that. Yeah. I was felt some kind of way about that as well. Now I didn't blame Rel so much because I don't know the guy, and I know he doesn't know me, but he spoke on me. He mentioned my name, and he tried to make it seem like I was discreditable. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel you on that exact situation.
And then the other one was the interview he did with a dude.
Thanks for watching this video clip of Streets and Scholars podcast with Alex Alonso and FG. If you want to listen to the entire episode, go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Streets and Scholars. But we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And thanks for listening to another episode of Streets and Scholars.